This is an interesting one.
Yeah, so we've got two small electric hatchbacks with pretty much the same idea.
Yeah, but there's quite a lot more than that, isn't there? Because these two share quite a lot of DNA. They're basically like the Kardashians of the motoring world, except that one is Kim and the other one is Ian.
Ian? Who is Ian Kardashian?
I don't know. No, listen, hear me out. Even though these two cars share a lot of the same bits, there's only one of them that you actually want to be seen with.
Yeah, an interesting start.
Look, I just call it like I see it, Nicola.
Well, before we get too far into this strange conversation, do go to electrifying.com for some more good car reviews by normal presenters, and I promise you, no mention of Ian Kardashian.
Back to the cars. This is the brand new Peugeot e-208. It's a small, fully electric hatchback with a 50 kilowatt battery and a punchy 136 brake horsepower.
Well, this is the Vauxhall Corsa E, a small electric hatchback with a 50 kilowatt battery and a punchy 136 brake horsepower.
Yeah, they are extremely related, aren't they?
Yes, this pair of cars is based on the same PSA Group platform, just like the DS E-Tense, but basically these cars are the same.
I beg to differ.
Well, at least the hardware.
This is going to get complicated, isn't it?
With you involved, yes.
Spec fight! Okay, here. 0 to 62 in 8.1 seconds.
Oh, same. How about a lightning top speed of 93 miles per hour?
Yeah, I've got that. Oh, 211 miles WLTP range.
209 over here.
Gotcha! That's 3 miles.
Wookie. 211 minus 209. It's 2 miles.
Oh, yeah, but it all counts.
Okay, well, how about an 80% charge on a rapid charger in just 30 minutes, which it says it supports as standard, or 7.5 hours on a home wall box to full.
Same and same. How about I've got 3 drive modes, normal, eco and sport, and I've got a free 6-month BP Chargemaster Polar Network subscription. Boom!
Snooze! Got those and that. Ha. Okay, so I get your point. These have pretty much all the same similarities. So how on earth are we going to compare them?
Well, that's obvious really, isn't it? We look at their differences, not their similarities.
Okay. Fancy a game of spot the difference?
Let's go!
Okay, I'm going to go first. This is the Corsa E, and like the e-208, it's designed to be, well, just another variant of the Corsa, so no special platform, and it's not a bespoke electric car. It seats 5, just. It has a hatchback, and it's small to medium sized. Now, you can have a new Corsa as a traditional petrol, diesel, or this all-electric version, and that's exactly the point. The Corsa E is simply another version of the Corsa. It's not supposed to be challenging or different in any other way.
You can say that again, it's a bit boring, isn't it?
Yeah, it's better than the old Corsa, but still, Corsa. It's a weirdly unsexy car name. But it has been around for a while, since the early 1990s in fact, when it took over from the Nova, and yes, I do remember that.
Again, that's the point. This is familiarity with a new version of motivation. It's not supposed to be scary.
Yeah, I do get it. It's not a new wave electric car like a VW ID3 or a Renault Zoe or even a Nissan Leaf. It's just a box tick on an options list.
In fact, both of these cars are actually different to their normal versions, even if they are made on exactly the same production line. Because in order to fit in that 50 kilowatt battery pack, the cars are a little bit wider, with the rear suspension slightly further back. And because they weigh a bit more, then the suspension has been beefed up to cope.
The batteries have been designed as a split pack too, so as not to interfere with the interior space. Basically, the EV versions of these two cars look and feel just like the more familiar versions. Even the badging on both is remarkably subtle.
So inside the Corsa is, well, it's quite lovely, but perhaps a bit straight-laced. There's a 7-inch display as standard, 10-inch and more expensive. The screen looks like a bit of an afterthought perhaps, but there is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, as well as the My Vauxhall app, which helps you set up your phone.
Ha! I think I win the interior war, because this little Peugeot is way more funky. It's got all the things that the Corsa has, but it's also got this Peugeot 3D iCockpit, and it really does look 3D. It's not just a gimmick. It's also got the usual Peugeot tiny steering wheel, which takes some getting used to. Now, I know Ginny loves this, and I'm quite tall, so I just look over the steering wheel into the dials. But, you know, I quite like it. It just makes it feel a little bit cooler. Suffice to say, the interior does take some getting used to, but it's much more intense than the Corsa. There's more emotion to it. Even these little organ dials down here, it feels funkier, it feels newer. It's better.
Now, as you might expect, they drive fairly similarly. Both have 3 modes. They start automatically in normal. Sport gives you the full 136 brake horsepower, and then you lose about 27 brake horsepower every time you downgrade through normal and then into eco. So it's basically a power dial. You turn it up for speed and down for range.
I know that it isn't the point of these cars, but once you shift this into sport mode, it genuinely is quite quick. 136 brake horsepower isn't a great deal, but with the way that an electric car delivers torque, which it has a lot of, 221 pounds-feet, it feels perky all the time. Now, this car's been kind of managed so that it gets decent range and quite rapid acceleration figures, but it's not supposed to be a hot hatch. There is a rumour, though, that there will be an e-208 GTI.
And then you also have a B mode. This is for regenerative braking. And I must say, I'm slightly disappointed by it, because in some cars, the regen is so good, you lift your foot off the throttle and the car braking really kicks in, so you barely have to use the brake while driving. Whereas in this case, on the Corsa E, you can hardly tell the difference. It's just not strong enough. So for me, that's a negative. But perhaps if you want a consistent drive between your traditional internal combustion engine car and an EV, then perhaps you'll see it as a positive.
They're both great. I know that sounds like damning with faint praise, but they're both quick off the mark, they're less aggressive once you get up to speed, and it has to be said that with ranges that top the 200 mark, you could use them for much longer commutes, or just go longer between charges in town.
The ride in the Corsa can get a little chunky on the optional 17-inch wheels, but the same can be said for the e-208. They really are very similar.
Even down to the way they stop, because like Nicki says, because neither of these cars has particularly aggressive brake regeneration, they feel like they've been designed to ease first-time EV buyers into the market without freaking them out too much. Because the thing I like most about the e-208, I have to say, a bit like the Corsa, it's just a 208. It's nothing that scares you. Adding that battery hasn't dumbed it down. It's still a warmish hatch that you can have a bit of fun in. The ride is a bit firm, but I can forgive that because it's steady and it's composed even at high speeds. It basically all works and looks better than the Corsa outside and in. So they work pretty much the same, but look completely different inside and out. Back to the details.
How about free 3 years servicing, 8 years of roadside assistance and a 1-year MOT?
8-year warranty and lots of other stuff. I haven't delved that deep, to be honest, though I have got a 311 litre boot.
Mine's a tad smaller at 267 litres. I can get Arthur's small pushchair in here and still have room for a couple of bags. Though neither of us get anywhere to hide the cables. They just kind of hang out in the boot.
Wait! I think we have to address the elephant in the room.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, because I'm right. You see that car? It's better looking outside, it's fresher and funkier on the inside, and it's generally just a nicer thing to be seen in. I get that the Vauxhall is a warm blanket of familiarity. I understand it's supposed to be conservative, but it's not got it compared to the little Peugeot.
So you see that?
What?
That is the point that you are missing. The whole thing about the Corsa Ii is its familiarity, is that it's normal. So I think in terms of fulfilling the brief it was designed for, well, I think that makes it a success.
Well, actually, having driven it, it drives nothing like a Vauxhall used to. It looks nothing like a Vauxhall used to. It's generally better in every respect than I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, it is basically a Peugeot.
Yeah, okay then. Spec for spec, if they were the same money, which one would you be driving home in?
Okay, so I love what the e-Corsa stands for and what Vauxhall have done with it, but for me personally, I would go for this one because it's just more stylish at the end of the day. And for that reason, I'm going to be stealing the keys.
Well, I'm glad you finally agree with me. Wait, what?
If you fancy either the Corsa E or e-208, then here's a couple of other recommendations for you. Check out Ginny's video of the Mini Electric, and also make sure you check out the Renault Zoe. We've got all of them over at electrifying.com.